Hey y'all, let me tell y'all my horrible labor and delivery story. So, I went to a regular doctor's appointment, which was a stress test and a fluid check. So that was on a Tuesday. That was my regular doctor's appointment. I was supposed to go there, and then I was supposed to go home. So I did the stress test. I'm sitting in the waiting room. I'm on my phone. I ain't even paying attention to the time. So I'm looking like, dang, a whole half hour went past and they still didn't call me back. So I go to the front and I said, excuse me, could you check and see if I was supposed to still get a ultrasound today? She said, yeah, but it's not till such and such time. I said, okay. Then nobody tell me that because I usually go straight to the back when I'm done. So she was like, yeah, it's at 11:30. And I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting there for like another 20 minutes. So I go to the back, get the ultrasound done. She checked the fluid. She said everything was fine. Mind you, she said everything was fine. She said, let me just take this back to the doctor and see what the doctor say. So she goes back to the doctor. I guess she talking to the doctor, looking over the ultrasound. And she was like, the doctor said that your fluid is very, very low. You need to deliver today. I said, but you just said my fluid was fine. And she just gave me this dumb look. She said that the doctor said your fluid is low. He looked over and said your fluid is low. You need to deliver today. I'm like, today, can I go home? I'm not even prepared. My kids at school, mind y'all, I had on pajamas, but they wasn't really pajamas, but people wouldn't know they was pajamas. But I'm like, can I go home? Can I get my bag? Can I get my kids? They were like, oh, could you call somebody to come get your kids? You need to go to the labor and delivery room now. So I'm like, okay, cool. Mind y'all, I wasn't prepared. Like, I didn't have her bag packed. I didn't have her bag with me. I didn't have nothing. I was in there looking a mess, just like I'm looking now. I was busted and disgusted. I was in there like this. I wasn't prepared to go into labor. So I'm like, okay, well, let me call my kid's father and tell him to pick the kids up from school and let him know what's going on so he can bring me some stuff to the hospital. So I goes to the labor and delivery part, and the nurse, she came in, she did my ultrasound, and she was like, your fluid look fine. I don't understand why you have to be induced. I'm like, that's what I thought. Like, the first nurse said my fluid was fine. Then she came back and said it wasn't. She said, well, I'm looking and your fluid is fine. And I'm like, now, mind you, when I kept going to this doctor office, all they kept talking about was inducing me. Oh, you should be induced. I don't want to be induced. She gonna come when she gonna come. It's not her time. She not ready to come. I did not want to be induced, and they just kept, I feel like they was forcing me to be induced. I did not want to be induced. Like, it's not her time, and she ain't ready to come. Let her come when she want to come. So I'm like, oh, well, whatever. At this point, I'm annoyed. I just went quiet because at this point, I'm annoyed, and I don't want to say anything else because I'm gonna go off. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't say that to her, but I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, whatever. So she was like, well, if the nurse said that your fluid was, low with a doctor, I have to go by what they say. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you got to go by what they say, but you just said the fluid was fine. What you mean you got to go by what they say? So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm here now. I might as well just stay. She was like, okay, well, someone to be in and they'll talk to you about everything. So I'm just sitting there for like, she told me to, put on a gown and get in bed. So I'm just sitting there for like 20 minutes. And the nurse practitioner or whatever she was, she came in and she told me, everything that was going to happen. We're going to induce you. We're going to try to put this balloon in you and inflate the balloon and see if that speed up the labor. Well, help jump kick your labor. I'm like, okay, fine. So she explained everything to me. Then she put me on one of them drip bags. I think it was like Pitocin. I don't know what it was, but one of those. And y'all, when I say, I want to say an hour or 2 hours after that, y'all, I was swollen. Like, my face was like, I just swelled up really, really bad. And I'm asking the nurse, like, is this normal to swell up like this? She was like, everybody have a different reaction to it. And I'm thinking, like, I'm just sitting there looking like a whole blowfish. A whole big old blowfish. I'm just sitting there looking like a blowfish. So I'm just sitting there. They kept checking me. And she was like, well, I have to check you to, see if you dilated. Mind you, I was in there probably for like 3 hours after she gave me the Pitocin. So she just digging and digging. I'm like, ow, 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 that hurt. Like, she just, and every time I tell her it hurt, it's like she just dig deeper and deeper. Like she was trying to reach my heart or something. Like, it just hurted so bad. Like, I don't wish that pain on nobody. Like, that pain was just unbearable. So she checked me and she was like, what you like, 1% phase or 2% phase or something, whatever that means. I wasn't dilated. I think it was like 1 centimeter and 1% phase or something, whatever. I don't know what that means, but that's what that was. And I'm just sitting there for hours and hours and hours. They keep checking me. Nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. Nothing. I'm still not dilating. So she was like, we're gonna put this balloon in you and inflate the balloon. And once the balloon come out, you should be about 4 centimeters. I'm like, okay, cool. So she put the balloon in. I can't remember if the balloon hurt it. I think it hurt it, but not as much as her checking my cervix. But the balloon did hurt. She put the balloon in. She said she'll be back to check me, and I want to say about, hey mama, about 3 or 4 hours. So the balloon was in. The balloon never fell out, so she just kept the balloon in. She checked me. Did she check me while the balloon was in? I think she did check me while the balloon was in. Every time she checked me, it just hurt it. It just hurt it so bad. I wouldn't wish that pain on nobody. But let me hurry up and tell this story. But so that was on a Tuesday. I was in labor all night. If the contractions was coming, I'm like, all right, these contractions like a 5, my crazy like a 10, so I can eat these contractions. These contractions, they wasn't bad. Like I can take them. They was just like period cramps. So I'm like, okay, cool. I might not need an epidural. So I'm just sitting there, just eating the contractions. Mind you, I'm just sewed up like a blowfish. I'm just like, all right, I can do this natural. She came back. She checked me. I want to say it was probably about 10, 11 o'clock that night. I think I was like 2 centimeters. I'm like, are you kidding me? All this time I'm only 2 centimeters. The balloon didn't fall out, nothing. I'm just still 2 centimeters. So it's the next day on a Wednesday. Still nothing. Y'all, them contractions started coming in. I guess these was the real contractions. These contractions started coming in. I started screaming and hollering. I'm telling you, I wouldn't wish that pain on nobody. Them contractions is something terrible. Like, I don't know, people that be going natural, y'all crazy. Like, y'all supernatural crazy. Like, something wrong with y'all. It's no way that y'all sat there and took them contractions. Like, I felt like I was dying. I couldn't breathe. She was like, just breathe through your contractions. Honey, do you want me to breathe or do you want me to die? Because I can't do both. Don't tell me to breathe through these contractions because I can't. Like, I can't catch my breath when these contractions come. Them contractions, the pain in the contractions was so unbearable. Like, man, I'm just sitting there, and they couldn't find the anesthesiologist. I guess they give me my epidural. They couldn't find him. I'm sitting there screaming, crying, hollering, like, I need the epidural. Give me the epidural. I need the epidural. I'm like, that pain is so unbearable. Like, women, you know, like, so they couldn't find the anesthesiologist. So I want to say like an hour. I'm just sitting there crying. An hour later, anesthesiologist came. I got my epidural. The epidural took about, I want to say 3 to 4 minutes. The epidural took. So I got my epidural. It didn't kick in probably for like a half hour. And once the epidural kicked in, y'all, I didn't feel nothing. Whatever kind of drug that is, child, your legs is numb. You can't feel nothing. Like, it's a different kind of feel. Like, you numb from the waist down. You don't feel nothing. So when she came back and checked me, and that when she checked me, it was a 10. The pain was a 10, but when she checked me with the epidural, I didn't feel nothing. You hear me? I did not feel nothing. Like, that epidural is a miracle. And y'all, it was the next day, 6 o'clock that night, and before that, my epidural wore off. My epidural kept wearing off. I kept getting these crazy contractions. My epidural wore off. I couldn't catch my breath. It was bad. It was horrible. So I want to say 6 o'clock. I was like, she came back and checked me at 6 o'clock. I was 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. I want to say 5 or 6 centimeters. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to have this baby. And y'all, I lied to you not. I put my hand 6 o'clock. I prayed to the man above. I asked him to get this baby out of me. I promise you, nothing was working. At 6 o'clock, I asked him to get this baby out of me. I swear to y'all, I lied to y'all not. By 6:20, I was pushing. I had to push at 6:20. 6:20, I started pushing this baby out. I ain't have time to call my baby dad and nothing. As soon as the baby came out, he walked in the door. Like, as soon as she checked me, she said, oh my God, the head is right there. You gotta push. You wanna call somebody? I said, no, I'll just call. I'll send them a text message, but I'm ready to push. I just want to get the baby out. As soon as the baby came out, y'all, my baby dad walked in the door. I'm telling y'all, that man above is real. I was not dilating. Nothing was working. And I'm telling y'all, 20 minutes after I prayed, I pushed her out. Right here, her. My little mama. Right here. God, that pain was, that was the worst pregnancy ever. Like, the pain was horrible. I'm not doing this again. This is my last baby. But that's my birth story. I'm taking my baby to see my mom today, and then I'll post her. I couldn't post her without my mom seeing her first, so I'm going to post her soon, okay?